Did you put gibberish under the language?
Is that an option?
So I told him
Are we going even though you turned it off?
Yeah. It's going. I can see it.
Now the order. Okay, you want to lead it? Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Recognition of visitors. Thank you, ladies. Awards, recognition, and correspondence.
Just classified appreciation week, last week, building did something for the classified employees, building us for Monday or Tuesday, one of those days in the morning. We put them out throughout the district, so just really appreciate all of our great classified employees. We got a chance to celebrate it.
We won the Trailblazer grant, $10,000. So Katrina is.
Adjustments to agenda.
Two adjustments. 8.11, we're gonna add the Secure Rural Schools Act resolution. And then 10.2 would be the resolution, making a decision on it.
Public comment on non-agenda items this far?
And just so happy to be here.
Yeah. Okay, consent agenda for 6.1, approved meeting minutes for February 2025, which I was present at. HR report and license renewal. So we have a motion.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
All the time.
All the time. I'll get it one of these days. Okay. Fiscal overview. Huh? I know, we're already there.
The HR report was already done.
Oh, HR report. Well, I said it kind of all together.
Okay, sure.
Comment.
Like it. So as you can see, we're continuing to stay pretty evenly. Everything is going great. No big scares or anything. Budget is coming along. I have a meeting with Mr. Polex next week. Hopefully I will be to a point where I can do anything he needs. Other than that, everything seems to be going really well. We have a great district and a great group of that are willing to get grants to help pay for things. So that's pretty great.
That's awesome. Thank you. Now fiscal overview. 7.1, monthly summary and forecast. Year-to-date summary, monthly checking list. Did you guys have any questions on that list?
There were quite a few checks, so if you have questions, ask me now.
Lots of construction checks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Things are happening. That's a good sign.
Closing out. Okay. Reports and discussions. 8.1, student body reports.
Hello, board members. I'm Cooper Campbell and a public relations officer from the Lincoln Middle School leadership team. Life at Lincoln has been pretty calm lately, but we have a lot of things coming up. School is flying by. We just had third quarter midterms and spring break is coming very soon, which means state testing is right around the corner. We will start with ELA state testing that will start on April 14th. Girls basketball and wrestling wrapped up their seasons recently. The wrestling team finished their season at the district meet in Glendale. We had 4 first-place finishers, 4 second-place finishers, and 2 third-place finishers. 2 of our wrestlers even went to regionals, and they both placed. Plus, one wrestler, Sally Elway, is competing at state this weekend. Everyone is proud of all of the wrestlers this season, and the coaches saw lots of improvements and can't wait for the next season. Track practice starts next Monday. Ms. Hamilton and Mr. Chrissy are very excited for this season to get started. We have over 50 kids signed up to participate. And here's Emma for more information about LMS.
Thank you, Capri. Hi, I'm Emma Gordon, and I am on the hype crew within the Lincoln Middle School leadership team. Our choir class is pretty busy this spring. They traveled to the Douglas County Courthouse today and performed. Also, next week they will be going to Sutherland to participate in the music festival. Choir has also joined forces with our drama class and are preparing a performance of The Wizard of Oz. The performance will take place on May 14th. On Monday, to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, we are hosting a dress-up day. We are challenging the students to deck themselves out in green. The class with the most participants will win. Also, in honor of Classified Appreciation Week last week, I would like to take a moment to recognize all of our amazing classified staff who worked really hard to keep Lincoln running smoothly. We appreciate all that you did. Thank you for having us. Good evening.
Hello, I'm Jaden Fairfax, and today I'm taking over for Hannah. She's currently at an FA event. Freshmen finished their season, sending 5 student athletes to state. They all represented well. Basketball is done for the year with a great finish from the boys basketball team, who placed 3rd in state, also earning sportsmanship award for 2 years in a row now. Track and field's gotten a great start with their practices, and the athletes are very optimistic about their first meet on the 20th of March. Softball is starting off strong with dedication and perseverance to have a good outcome on their first upcoming game. They are seeking vengeance after a hard season-ending loss in the playoffs last year. Baseball is working hard and giving their all at practices in order to prepare for their first games next week. Yesterday, the band had competition with a great performance and qualified for state. Leadership is covering many different aspects of our school spirit with students in charge in different projects. Some projects decorating the display case in front of the office, creating food boxes for the students during spring break, school-wide bingo, and organizing the Chromebook carts in the classrooms. Oakland FFA hosted their chapter's FFA week 2 days ago with daily activities and assembly, staff breakfast, and roadside cleanup on Driver Valley. Oakland FFA had multiple students compete at the sectional leadership development competition, and some students will move on and compete at state convention next week. Tonight there will be a Pi Social grant in hand and chapter degree ceremony, where FFA members who had dedicated their time and efforts, chapter, and supervised agricultural experiences earned an award. Lastly, on Friday, our FFA officers are running the City Hawkins Spring Fruitling Dance from 7:30 to 10 for many students who are left to come. In our last blood drive ran by National Honor Society, we collected a total of 47 donations from students and community members. For the months of March after school program, the theme is Rockets and Race Cars, run by Mr. Osa and Mr. Burke. So far, the students have made their own race cars and gotten to race them down the school hallways this afternoon. Some of the cars created by Lightning McQueen car, Carrot car, McDonald's Starts car, Cheese car, and much more silly ideas. Next week, students will assemble their model rockets and launch them into the sky. Furthermore, the high school is busy with spring sports coming to fruition and positive outlook on the rest of the school year.
Thank you. You guys are welcome to leave if you want. 8.2, principal counselor report. Those were in your packets. Any questions or updates to those?
So I was impressed by, I didn't know you had that many kids with the after-school program in elementary. Yeah. How are we doing number-wise all across the board?
I'd say for us, we're about 20, I think today we had 25. We usually average like 25 to 30 that are signed up, but I'd say any given night, 20, 25. And then we have a couple heading up to the high school too.
The last 2 months with the CTE and then this month with the Rockets and Race Cars, we've invited the 7th, 8th graders to come up and kind of get exposed to that, which has been great. They've done a good job. I'd say our average, we usually have anywhere from 5 to 6, 7 kids in the tutoring, and then our average has been 10 to 12 in the enrichment, which, considering we have almost 50% of our student body doing sports as it is, I think it's pretty good. I mean, it's definitely not as full as the Little Nut House, but lots of activities. The race cars this afternoon was pretty cool. Did make you cringe a minute in the hallway, but you didn't have any damage. And the bottle rockets will be outside. Okay. They will be outside.
Thank you.
8.3 maintenance custodial report. In the packet as well. Questions? Hearing none, okay. 8.4 facility report.
Got the stairs done out back. You haven't noticed some lingering or left or came here today. The stairs coming down from baseball field into those exterior bathrooms for baseball. We got the cement poured for those. We went with super small drop, like 5 to 6 inch drop and really wide stairs. So we didn't put handrails in there. And then ADA accessibility comes down the sidewalks. Got the turf stuff laid in weed protectant laid in. We're going to throw river rocks on that side over there. Those will be delivered here in the next while. And then we got our sprinkler system put in the front. Our maintenance crew did that. That is in there, but we're not going to bring the dirt in and do all that until the weather starts to pop off a little bit. So much rain. So we're just going to see it. So good progress there. New gym is progressing along. Plans been submitted to the city. We're in the permit process right now. Have our final docs came out this week from Pivot Architecture. The architects that are drawing it to our MGC, McKinsey, who's putting it out to bid. The bid is supposed to go up yesterday or today. And then we are doing our mandatory bid walkthrough next Friday here. So all the contractors that are planning on bidding on it will come in for that walkthrough. Still on track at this point, we're still on track to break ground in mid-April. We feel pretty good about it. We have a couple of the contractors already on board. They've already done some stuff we did the RFPs for mechanical and electrical and a couple others. We did them because we knew that we did those early because we knew, and basically a design build because we knew they had to order stuff. Because some of the electrical stuff was 11 to 12 months out, depending on what we got. So that we had to get on those sooner rather than later. So we have some of those on board. And then we're doing the rest of them will be at the walkthrough next week. So it's all on track to break ground in mid-April, depending on what it's like, but we're moving in that good direction. OHS gym seismic moving along. We have an abatement plan next week, starting next Friday. So kids leave for spring break on Thursday. We'll start the abatement on Friday. And then all of spring break week, they're abating up in the ceiling above the laundry room. And then all other accessible points are going to get up in the ceiling above the restrooms that we're basically tearing those completely out in the lobby. And a couple other places. There still might be some abatement afterwards, but we wanted to get an early run through of the break and get as much done as we can so that we can start work basically as soon as possible. We're exploring pulling out the HVAC units and pulling the things out the laundry room ceiling maybe before school's out if we can find a place to store them, and that makes logistical sense with the other things we have going on because they can get on there and work during school as long as we're not blocking that access road back there for extended periods of time. So we're not positive on that. We just kind of kicked that around in our meeting yesterday. Still planning on Western testing came in. That was big. They were in the last 2 Fridays. They were in the day before our playoff game, and they went through and did all of their scanning of the walls to make sure that what's in the walls is fitting with the plans, and all the scans came back much better than they did when we did Lincoln, because there's actually rebar in the walls like they're supposed to be, filled with cement like they're supposed to be, so much stronger than initially, like things we ran in down there that wasn't happening. And then they pulled out last Friday. They came in and they found, I think they took 5 blocks, cut out blocks from different places in the area. They take that back and they do smash tests on those to see what PSI it takes to smash them. And then ZCS uses that in their planning phases to figure out what exactly reinforcement needs to be done for the seismic piece. At this point, they feel like everything's good and coming out kind of like expected. So they're not anticipating any trouble. So basically, as soon as Western Testing get their results back to ZCS, they will get us final builds, and we will start moving forward on bids for that and so forth. We feel like we're just so much farther ahead of the game than we have been on our other two seismics, as we should be. It's a third one, so we're learning as we go, figuring out what we do. So we've been much more ahead of things there. Still looking at 2 phases. This summer, we're going to tear out the roof over the laundry room, those cut trusses, get all those replaced, new roof on there, and they'll replace all the HVAC units. They're going to do the flat roof around. It's like there's 3 levels of roofing, right? There's a roofing above the laundry room. There's flat around the kind of the rim around of the top part, and then there's all that T111 that's brown and rotting up there, and then the roof that's on top of that. So they're going to re-side all of that T111 this summer and do all of the structural stuff they need for that. They can get to all the structure of that flatter part of the roof around the edges. They'll do all of the reinforcement. They'll finish all of that. And then they'll do the restrooms, tear all of that out of the lobby and redo those. Once we're done with all of that, we're hoping that'll be done, because we definitely have that. Got to be done by August 15th-ish, so we can start fall practices in there. I think we'll be able to knock that out. And then next summer, they'll come in and do the high roof, because there's really no way to protect the high roof. Once you pull that off, it's off until we get it re-roofed. So yes, we could do that in a window this summer, but they really want to make sure that that we hit the right weather window and don't ruin the floor. And that's near the end by all of the other stuff we're doing. So if we did that at the end of the summer and hit a rain patch and ruin the floor, we're kind of a mess. So we're going to hold off on that, redoing the floor, and then we're looking at redoing the light. We are going to redo the lights because of the new lights law. We're going to get rid of those lights. We planned on it this summer, but they're very concerned about running the lift all over the floor and ruining the floor by doing the lights. So we're going to push that off till next summer as well. So next summer we'll do the roof, the lights, and then do the floor last. And we'll have plenty of time to do all that in. Plus at that point, depending on what their time frame expectations are, we could kick all summer activities to the middle school gym, which should be done by then if we have to. We think we'll still be able to get both in, but we'll see on that. So, so making good progress there. I feel like we're moving in a good direction. OES dirt. I mean, it's been much slower than expected, but you think I would have just started expecting things to be slow. We did get the vaults buried, have all the conduit buried, so we're just waiting to pull the line. So we're essentially at a standstill with that, because we can't do that until it's spring break when everybody's out of the building, because we got to cut the internet for the district while we do that. And we assume it'll be a short time down, but who knows? So because we're cutting all that, we're waiting till spring break for that. As soon as that is done, as soon as the conduit's done, the internet's back up and running, then he'll do final burying around that and do cleanup, scrape, get all that flattened out, all that excess dirt pulled out, moved over there, and then we have our fence. We've already accepted our bid for doing the fence to finish fencing that area with the 10-foot drive-through gate and a 4-foot walk-through gate along the way. So we'll have that as soon as that's done. We'll have them scheduled in. So, I mean, super optimistically speaking, by the April board meeting, we should have, it should be done as far as dirt work done, and then maybe we're lucky and the fence is done, but a little bit later, but close. So we are moving there. We have had a little bit of headbutting going on between our engineer who designed the field work over there for us, dirt engineer, who designed that plan for us. He went well over the top in his designing of soil erosion and all the erosion control things that we're supposed to do. So there's a little bit of a headbutting going on between him and the contractor that's supposed to be doing it, that's saying this is overkill, we don't need to do this much. Well, it's too late now because it's on our DEQ permit, so we have to do it. So played a little bit of refereeing, and finally I said, no, both of you come up tomorrow, 9 o'clock, we'll meet, we'll walk through. The engineer says this, they can have their arguments, but in the end, this is what we're going to do. Okay, done. So one of the problems we're running into is the the worst of it is the erosion control that we have to do in the field over there, and Larry still has his cows in there. So it doesn't do us a whole lot of good to put a road, which we've done twice so far, put the fence up and the cows just tear it up. So it is what it is. Anyways, we'll get that figured out tomorrow and hopefully be moving in that direction. Softball field, trying to dial in the elevations. The last set of plans we got from the architect didn't have any elevations in there, which has been problematic. So we, instead of waiting for him, who's notoriously slow, we moved it a different direction. And we're getting working off of his plans. We have we contracted somebody else to basically do us a model, make us a model that can be bid off of, because we need to get this out to bid, because we're doing it in sections and essentially getting bids for all the different sections. So then we know this is how much money we're willing to spend. This is what we can do. This is where we need to stop. So we're basically in that phase right now. Not really worried about that one because we can't touch it till after Father's Day anyway, and it can spill over into the fall, which it probably will. And it's okay to be doing that during school. And then lastly, we're working on the improvements with the OHS shop over there, the metal buildings for the wood and metal storage. In that process, that has to be done by June 30th, or at least very close to done. So I think we're close to getting the dirt work done, and or at least starting on the dirt work. Again, it's going to be weather permitting, but shouldn't come too far down the road. That's facilities for the most part. And like Corey said, lots of things going on, lots of money going out. The pre stuff, the in the middle of stuff, and the coming up stuff, and then I didn't even mention because it's kind of gotten forgotten along the way. We are still doing phase 2 this summer, and we're tearing those locker rooms out and putting those in the classrooms. They're going to redo that entire hallway, tear that out and new. So there's that project going on too. So going to be another little busy summer. Mackenzie's actually sending another soup up, so we'll have 2 soups on site, one to manage the gym, phase 2, and one to the high school.
Are you gonna be paving from the gym to the driveway, the new gym?
Like that whole field area,
Yeah.
Not all of it. We're gonna pave essentially from the wall of the 5-6 annex where that sidewalk is. We'll go out, I'm assuming we'll tear that cement out and then we'll pave from there, from the edge of the annex out to whatever the fire road needs to be. I'm gonna say probably 12 feet, 10 to 12 feet. And then we'll go down. So the rest of it's still all gonna be grass. The discus is still gonna go in there. The discus is gonna sit, discus cage will sit basically kind of where we poured that cement for the band about 15 years ago, when we built a new, 10 years ago, I guess, when we built the new grandstands. We put that section of cement there. The discus ring will go, we're kind of right in there and point towards the ticket booth, essentially. Kind of angle. I think we have a 180-foot thrower. We're gonna have to throw some other flags on, but generally that's not too much of a problem. So yeah, we'll pave that, and then right on the corner, there's a little bit of a dog leg there that's got a flat cement area it's got like a raised round decorative thing, but it's really to keep cars out of there, out of the middle, and also to has some seating on it, and then so the fire trucks can come around and then turn around right there. So part of that, and then they'll be a little bit paved.
Another question? 8.5, superintendent report.
Working on the integrated guidance application. Principals and I met with our ESD liaison that helped us with that yesterday and went through all of it. She's going to give me a copy that has essentially the new application combined some of the questions off our old one. So we adopted those answers to this, and then she's getting me the final one that has the new questions that need answering. So hoping to do that here maybe next week, might be the week after. Because we got to have it done and posted on our website before the next board meeting. And at that board meeting, you guys will see the application, approve the application, and then we submit it to the state. After that, it's due by April 30th. I had about this much belief that I'd have it done for this meeting, but we'll do the next meeting. So we got a food service audit coming up next year, which is a pretty big deal. So we have, we're sending Daly and Amber to a training. It's in Phoenix or Texas or where'd you say?
Dallas.
Dallas, there you go. Dallas, Phoenix. Dallas, Arizona. Anyways, sending them to it to basically go through and kind of prep them for what that audit looks, federal audit, so what it looks like and how to prep for it and manage it while it's going on. The sped stipends that we talked about a couple of months ago, we approved taking that money from the state and doling it out. So just a reminder, the state said we're going to give X number of dollars to as a bonus for all of our sped workers in the state. So all the schools had to put in our number of sped workers that we have, and they took them all and put them all on equitable. It doesn't matter if you're a sped IA or a sped teacher or a whatever, anything sped related that goes in there that met those qualifications. They're all equitable. Took them all in there. Which was it, like $8 million? Is it that much? 6 million?
8.3,
It was a
8.4.
big amount of money.
Yeah.
So by the time and we were taking bets on how much this was going to break out to each person. So we have 16 workers that are going to receive this stipend in their April check for $445.86. So it's better than nothing, and it is an appreciation from the state. So we're excited about it. So we'll send a letter out probably next week to the staff that are getting it, so they know it's coming, and clarifies, hey, we didn't set the amount. We didn't set anything. Yes, we know it's all equitable. Everyone's getting the same, but this is what you're getting. Enjoy. So we did bus eval, our second set of bus evac drills back in February, got those knocked out, all good there. I was out most of last week for the tournament, so as I was going back through my weeks of, okay, here's some things I should talk about. That was much for last week. Legislative updates, just giving you a kind of a heads up of what's going on. I mean, there's thousands of education bills that affect education that are in the hopper. Really, the only top ones I want to talk about is unemployment for striking workers. That's gaining traction. It looks like it's not a guarantee that it's going to pass, but it's tight. Rumor has it that there's a couple of Democrats that are going to vote against it, but they still have it. It still could pass it in a very tight race, but there's a couple others that are on the fence. They have been, OSBA and COSA have been pushing really hard, and it seems to be people are listening about putting some provisions in there for schools that essentially say, yes, we would have to pay, if our staff went on strike, we would have to pay them unemployment while they're on strike, but that would then be deducted off of final pay. So in the end, we wouldn't have to pay more than their contractual amount of salary for the year, which is not the case in the other areas. So that's not a given that's in there, but that's one that they feel pretty strongly is going to be added. Mandatory class size at the bargaining table. OEA is pushing that one super hard, and also is gaining some traction. It's not great, and they're pushing back against it because it's not the best interest of districts by a long stretch, and funding in tight. I hate to say we're in tight funding times, but I'm hearing a lot more districts saying they're cutting next year than adding. So we must be in tight funding times. So that's definitely a bad one. It doesn't require you to do that. It just requires it as part of bargaining. So you could bargain and say, class size does not matter, but we have to have something in our bargaining agreement. And then the other one that's gaining heavy steam, and it's actually kind of rolled our way a little bit more, although what the final results are going to look like still up in the air. The special ed, taking that cap off of special ed funding, it's capped at 11%, 11% right now. So you get double weight ADM for your sped kids up to 11%, but the statewide average is 16%. So that means that other 5% that cost more to educate we're just absorbing that. So originally, I think the belief was when that got pushed and asked that they would maybe raise the cap from 11 to 13 or something like that. Talked to Morgan today, and he said that right now it's trending that there'll be no cap at all. What does that mean? Well, it's hard to tell, because it would be nice if that meant they were just going to add to the state school fund the amount that districts have been absorbing for that, but that's not a given. They might just say, well, we're going to take the cap off, but we're going to double weight all those kids, but then the number's just going to be reduced based on that. That being said, right now 11.36 seems to be the number that is that they're feeling most comfortable with. The last forecast came out 2 weeks ago, relatively flat for the state, so not bad. It didn't send us backwards, but didn't show a great increase that they thrown into that new state economist this year, a new person doing those projections, and that's so that changes it. I think that this one, they, I don't know if it's a male or female, they have kind of changed their approach of doing it. So with the idea being off the record, I guess, but the idea being that we're going to stop having a kicker that's in the $1 billion range, trying to have a more accurate forecast of where the economy is going. So we're not taking all that tax revenue and giving it back, which, anyways, so that's where that's at. As Corey mentioned, we're beginning the budget committee or budget work, building our budget. We're going to next week and start working through that, and looking through our numbers. Everything still seems to be relatively positive for us. So saying that we're loaded with money and we can start eating it by burning piles of money, but I think we're doing it. And then lastly, I got a meeting scheduled next Friday afternoon with the city about the Washington properties. Finally got that meeting on the books. And so we will meet and talk about possible swapping or whatever we're going to do to try and get those fields up for sale. Because this field is coming in a whole lot more expensive than we had hoped. So we still have to get somewhere in the nature of 15 to 17,000 yards of fill to get it up to par. So selling that will be really helpful in offsetting those costs. That's all I got. That might be it for my voice too.
8.6 enrollment report. Staying steady.
You guys.
644.
Mm-hmm.
No, so 646. Sounds like. So.
We're
Two more below.
Oh. Okay. We want to make 650. Everybody 650. Okay. Man.
No, but I think we're gonna be down two, so they're gonna balance.
Take one from each.
One from each.
Yeah.
So it is hanging steady.
8.7 policies, second reading, December 2024 update. Everyone got these last month to review for read on their off time.
The good thing was these were
And we agree.
shorter
Yeah.
and much less of them.
Two were very
And they're
similar.
pretty straightforward.
Any questions, concerns?
Just, yeah, I mean, like this section, all the highlights,
Yeah.
I mean, are we, the highlighted part, are we eliminating that part in brackets? I mean, we just have decisions to make.
Like in 2-3.
Yeah,
I would say that the highlighted part is what we are taking in. And then I put in high school principal because we needed to insert a administrator. If it's a superintendent that's being complained against, then the high school principal will manage that. The rest of them, I thought, it should take. Let's see. So we're gonna say it's gonna be 7.
So, all
So
right.
7 is gonna be that, and it's just gonna be the high school principal. Well, to any district employees. Yeah, to the superintendent. So designated licensed administrator or the alternate designated licensed administrator. Yeah, I have those.
Yeah.
It's like, I know it's been a while since I've done these, so that's in there. So it goes to the like designated or is that person the alternate?
okay.
So yes, the highlighted stuff is kind of it. And then on 3.3 on the back one, but strongly discouraged or prohibited, and I was strongly discouraged, which falls in line with all the others.
Thanks.
OSBA model sample policy. That promptly was kind of what I was like,
Yeah, I mean, I highlighted it, but we can't really believe it.
yeah.
I do think we should add in there, yeah, right, in parentheses,
Yes.
someone like it.
So I had a broader question about this. So most policies seem to have I don't know if you call it cause and effect, something happens, this is what you do. These are just standards. Are we holding anyone to these standards? I mean, not that I'm against having ethical performance standards, but
I would say that the idea is you hold all of your, it's really kind of putting into words the fact that we're holding all of our people to these standards. So everyone is held to these competent ethical performance standards
okay.
that are subjective and not measurable.
Okay. That's what I would, and not tied to a contract or anything of that nature. Are those distributed to staff? I mean, who sees these?
Well, I mean, our policies are on the website for everyone. to see.
Right.
So that's, and I feel like that part really falls under the employee's responsibility to know what their expectations are for them. So.
And then I think there was part of this, and I apologize, I did not write a bunch of notes this time. I just kind of read through them. I know.
Slacking.
I know. Seemed like. So there's still a part about sexual conduct within this policy.
Yes, which policy are you talking about?
This is the GCAA.
Still looking at that. 3-6.
So on page 2-6.
Yeah.
I guess. So, under sexual conduct does not include, you can send a C. Anyway, I guess there are a couple places where it still talks about contractors, agents, or volunteers. Is that appropriate for a standards for competent and ethical Oregon educators? I mean, is that?
Well, I think the idea is while they don't become educators, when they come on campus, they then have to meet those standards, a set of standards that educators have to meet.
Okay.
So that's why they leave those in there. And they also, some of those, I mean, you think contractors, those are just, some of those contractors are educators, our school psychologists, our medical personnel, any of those people that come on, our people that help our sped staff, speech people, all of those guys, they're also contractors that come on board, but they're also educators.
Right.
So
that part made sense, but like, volunteers, it's kind of.
The idea is volunteer, and obviously they're going to have a harder time holding volunteers to these standards. The expectation is there, probably to a lower level, but the broad objectives of how they should act are still there, and our way of managing that is no longer allowed on campus, or obviously we need to take bigger steps depending on what happened.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So I view this policy as more of a general expectation of laying out how you expect your people on campus to act.
Well, I think too, from the public standpoint, if you're, one who reads school district policies on the website, it's certainly not a bad thing to have.
Yes, I agree. I think it shines a good light on everything.
Yeah. I was just curious, like you said. Seemed like the last one was just.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same.
Pretty much a repeat.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions? 8.8 enterprise zone info.
This is a weird one. I swear every time I think I never think I'm done learning, but crying out loud. Myself and Mr. Prestiani at Sutherland got approached by this Sutherland Oakland enterprise zone. And essentially they're asking us to enter into an agreement. I'm not asking you guys, so it's not on the action items to do that. I just wanted to present it to you to get a feel for where you're coming from. And I told them we had an hour-long Zoom, myself and Terry, with the two ladies that are running this program. One works for the city of Sutherland, the other one I think was the state representative for the program. Anyways, essentially these enterprise zones, I'm going to paraphrase, so don't quote me as this is all fact, but this is my interpretation of it. Enterprise zones are set up to try and create tax breaks to get businesses to come in and open up in your area. They have to meet certain standards. There's pretty stringent set of standards for them to meet to be able to be in this program. If they're part of this program, then essentially for the first 3 years, the taxes are abated. They're basically tax-free for those first 3 years. And then years 4 and 5 and 6 have some looser requirements, so they're not as stringent in the taxes that they pay. But as part of this enterprise zone, we, the school districts are allowed to put a fee essentially between, and we have to assign a fee between 15 and 30% in a whole number increment to tax them in those first 3 years. So they pay that 15 to 30%. We have to bill them. We have to make sure they pay us. And then when we get that money from them, that money is reduced from our state school fund. So it's supposed to
A
be,
lot of accounting
it's
there.
supposed to be a wash for us, meaning that we're not going to get any more money for it or any less money for it, but we are getting less money for it because we're now taking on the extra responsibility of running these down. I asked these pretty pointed questions. They said, "Oh yeah, there's quite a few around the state." So it just happened that the resolution example they gave us was from Morrow County. I know the suit from Morrow County really well, so I called him. He's like, "Yeah, that was in place before I got here, and it's for their whole county." And they did it for, I want to say they're either Amazon or Google, one or the other, has a bunch of stuff in Morrow County. So they put it in place for them, and they put the 15% in, and he said it's been difficult. He said it's doable. Yes, we get our money. Yes, it works. Yes, it's fine, but it's kind of a pain. And the idea is we're doing our part to help them have to pay some taxes, but we're trying to encourage growth in the area. So we ask specific questions. The Swanson group that's coming in here is not part of this program. And right now there's 0 businesses that would meet this enterprise zone. And there's, at this point, to their knowledge, the 2 ladies we're meeting with, there's 0 businesses on the horizon. But the idea being this would encourage more businesses to come in. I said, I'll take it to my board and see what they say.
Have they presented it to the city of Oakland?
The city of Oakland is not one of the, I don't know the answer to that. It does say that. It says the city of Sutherland has recently been appointed by the Sutherland Oakland Enterprise Zone sponsors, Douglas County, the city of Sutherland, and the city of Oakland. So,
Not recently, Tom knows too. They would come to us about enterprise zone stuff, I don't know, every 2 or 3 years. And it's just like kind of a presentation and a head nod, and that's about all that ever happened. It was,
Because I'm looking at the zone, a lot of it's Oakland, like city, right? So
Yeah.
there's not a lot of room for businesses to grow. It's historical, so building something there's not.
Very limited.
but it's this entire enterprise zone. It's not,
It's the whole.
it's this whole
Right,
green
but
area.
like, I get, we're gonna get kids from all these areas, if we have businesses that want to move in, right, families move in, create jobs.
But do we, and I don't know, I mean, if they build something out here, I believe we still tax that for whether they have children in our school
but they
district or
pay
not.
yes,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yes.
They pay the enterprise zone fee.
So was there a downside if we don't?
I didn't get it except for the only downside that I walked away from that meeting with the idea of is someone's gonna roll their eyes and go, "Oh, you're not trying to grow the area," which are we? I mean, seriously, we talked all along about we don't want the schools any bigger. We're at capacity. We don't want to grow. It's not like the city's hot on the, urban growth boundaries. How can we grow this? How can we get bigger? I mean, that's just not. So to me, it felt like if we choose to do it, fine. We do it because we're being a good soldier, we're being a good team player, but it's really not going to have any effect because we're not Sutherland now. Sutherland could. I mean, Sutherland has area. They're working on developing some things and they're working on trying to grow and push. They are a little bit more in tune to growing. But from my vantage point, I don't see how it really benefits us except for possibly bringing things.
So if someone wants to do it, we don't have to do it? Or how does it work?
I didn't
Because it
get
kinda
that.
goes
That's a question
together.
that I didn't answer. I gathered that we both have to agree to it because it's the Sutherland Oakland Enterprise Zone. So I'm assuming that we both have to do it, but I don't know. I would say that when we walked away from the meeting, Terry was probably on the same page as me.
Oh, I was gonna say,
Okay.
yeah, well, they're
I mean,
really,
he's not against
they're really
it.
gung ho to do it, and we're not.
He had some of the same questions.
Okay.
He's gonna take it to his board. His boards are on Monday, so it was either last Monday or next Monday. I don't know which, but next Monday, like they just had it. So I don't know, and I have not come to
Okay.
to ask him today at the soup meeting if he had done that or not. So at this point, I'm not asking for a decision out of you. Just wanted to throw it at you, give you an idea of what it was. Funny that you said describe that because that's pretty much how I walked away from that. Good presentation, get the info out there. Hey, this is what's going on. We don't really have anybody on tap for it, so I don't know what the rush to do it is.
So how about between now and next board meeting, maybe you talk to Terry and see where they're going. Okay.
Ultimately, having penalty for growth, they really.
No, but like I say, you're part of this whole enterprise zone. It's more than just Oakland.
Right.
I understand that. It's
Which
just-
really, most of it so far is taking
Down
place
there.
down here.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's really where everything's been up to this point, and most of those aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, then, like, I think if you look at the state level too, like how many people are wanting to come to Oregon
they wanna
and
leave.
start
They're
their
trying to leave
business,
Oregon.
like with what I deal with.
So they're gonna leave.
So,
And it would be different if we got the 30% on top of what we normally
That's not
get.
what I was trying to say. I mean, if there's an advantage to it, fine, and we do it, but there's no,
No,
Yeah.
and it's a cost loss to us.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
well, it's more work.
Yeah. All the way around.
Yeah, so
The one that's, you're gonna have to stare down.
I'm like, you could tell them to agree to your own building, sure.
But then make sure that we get them.
Mhm.
Budget committee roster.
I didn't include it in your packet, just, I was going to and I just didn't. So we got Michelle Kaiser, Justin Harris, Betty Keeley, Ron Lane, and Jim Paxton, same group from last year. Their terms expire at the end of this year. After they do that, Ron was the only one that was kind of whining last year about getting off, and if you're watching Ron, that comes whining. But he was agreeable to do it. Well, you agreed to do it one more year last year to do it, so to me, that extends to this year and his term's up, so. We will have to start probably recruiting some new members for next year. But we haven't on board this year.
Next scholarship committee.
This is a month early, just actually it's 2 months early. Usually I think we have them come to the May meeting, which we talked last year about getting that down a little bit earlier to try and get away from some of the May craziness. So April, they will be at the April meeting to present. You guys can either do it now or you can do it at the April meeting. You guys, just a reminder of the process. You listen to their presentations, they both come in, or both, however many there are, come in, give you their spiel, you see their applications, and then you guys, select a subcommittee of yourselves
Yeah.
of two, goes through, make your decisions of how much is there, and at that point, at the April meeting, Corey will have a total of how much is in that account, if you obviously don't want, so you don't want to, depends on how much is there, give it all away, but whatever you, that's where you choose what you're gonna give away and how you're. So just throwing it out there now, so you can be thinking about it for the next meeting, you'll permit your select your subcommittee of two that are going to go through the applications and make those decisions.
And I think it was Tom and I left this time.
That's just a reminder, and to say, make sure you guys are okay with, we made the scholarship due April 1st, so you'll have the applications in your permit in your packet, and then they'll do their presentation at the April meeting.
8.11, secure rules, school act.
So sorry for the change on this. This just came about today at the county suit meeting that we had. Roseburg School District wrote this up. Jared gave a presentation to all the soups. Essentially, it's a resolution saying, hey, federal government, why would you stop funding this Secure Rural Schools Act? They stopped it. It came around in 2000. We've been getting money every year since then. Total money that we get last year was budgeted to come in at 60 for this year currently that we're in. budgeted to come in at 60,000, came in at 73,000. So, I mean, it's a chunk of money. It's not, I mean, it's not gonna make or break the budget, but it's still a fair amount of money.
Salary.
To say, you know, that's gone now. So he put this together and wrote the resolution essentially to, and he's encouraging all school boards in Douglas County to do it because we are grossly, the entire county is affected by it. We're all going to lose a big chunk of money from it. And so I did not write this resolution. I took his resolution and we just changed all the Roseburg stuff over and stuff because it's the idea behind it is we as a board are saying, hey, this money is directly affects our kids, affects our budget. We've had it for a long time. We have federal forest lands. We meet all the requirements. We need to fund this. So essentially it's a more organized than a petition to send to our legislators to, okay, wake up and see what's going on.
Any questions? Okay, public comments regarding agenda items. Okay,
Well, I came just because I like coming to a meeting once in a while and hear what's going on.
well,
But I did think of a couple of things as I was sitting here. A couple of you guys know that I applied for a grant as chair of the Parks Commission for tree planting around about. Well, I thought it was a pretty good grant, but we did not make the cut. So
That's too bad.
I've been retired for a couple of years, so sometimes one less thing is a good thing. So, and also I'm curious, have you got some? I hope you got mostly positive feedback from the community about the new sign. How's that going?
I've heard nothing but mass positive.
Good.
Actually, the only complaint that I've heard, and it was annoying to hear, but I heard it. There was frustration, I guess, in the queue. I say frustration. One person sent a text to somebody that was at the game, at the tournament that came and told me and showed me it. That frustrated that it wasn't getting updated for what was going on in the games. So my response was, well,
I love it.
because I said, have them reach out to me if they really want an answer, but you can tell them that Daylene does the upgrading upkeep of the board and she does not work weekends. So she gets off work at 3:30 on Thursday and we don't expect her to stay on call and update it through the weekend. So anyways,
the only negative that I saw was on Facebook. There was 2 individuals that said it's just really bright at night. But at the same time, like
So we're headlights.
that, it was only 2 out of all.
it'll save the city some money on streetlights.
Yeah.
So actually, I've heard nothing but positive. What do you think as a
Yeah, so
counselor?
I haven't heard any negatives either. I'm just hoping that's the way it turned out. But I know that for years, people have said we've got to have better announcement boards.
Yeah.
You know, we've been asking about that for years, so that's great. And we also, I remember in discussion, we tried to keep it away from the historic district down near the truck route pretty much, which is Oak Street. And the light, we tried to keep the light down and everything, right? So, yeah.
And I wasn't thrilled with the movement of the post. They were supposed to move that pole. But in the end, when you're sitting on Oak Street, it is a perfect view. We could not have put it in a best place, which is what I wanted if we were going to go there instead of down at Railroad Park. I thought that was better because really at the stop sign where it's safest to read it, right?
Yeah.
You can sit for 10 seconds and 15 seconds and see it all. So yeah, I've heard nothing but positive. So
I've actually seen cars park over in front of the water plant and watch the whole cycle. before they go. So,
yeah, it's been good.
Yeah.
I think.
Of
course. The true thing will be probably heard when I go meet with the city next Friday. I might hear it then, but at this point, it's
Action item 10.1, so we need to accept and approve the December 2024 policies. Motion to accept.
So move.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. I know, right? I can't forget that. Okay, 10.2 Oakland School District School Board Resolution, which was in front of us. We need to, approve or make a motion to either approve or deny. So do I have a motion for the Oakland School District School Board Resolution?
I would move that we approve resolution 24-25-1.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
So if you guys, before you leave, could all put your signature on the one, copy that Lisa has, so everybody, that's a little short.
Okay, next up, upcoming meeting input.
April meeting is April 9th. I don't see a big, the May one is when we'll have our first budget meeting beforehand. I should be able to have, or I should have a light but subjective overview kind of where we're at with the budget as the budget process. Kind of let you know we're still on that out at that point, but we should have a pretty good idea.
For the good of the order,
I am just, if you guys are looking for me, not next week, but spring break week, I'm gonna be on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'll be back to work on Friday. First 4 days. So if you are looking for me.
go with
Yeah.
form.
You can look all you want, but you won't find me. Well, I guess it depends on where you're looking.
I will be here.
So if I need the sign up
She's off.
I'll just get some blue posters.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Hey, any announcement?
Tuesday, or it's the 100th day of school. To celebrate that, we're all going to dress as if we were 100 years. Same practice and everything.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
Wait, I'm trying